All right, Jeff Zimmerman here, back with Keith, one-time Thurman, former unified welterweight champion of the world, making his ring return after 2 long years, fighting the Australian powerhouse Tim Tszyu March 30th to launch the Amazon pay-per-view. How is the most interesting man in boxing doing?
Hey man, I'm doing good in this camp, man. Looking forward to this fight. It's been a long time coming. Been preparing for a good contract to fall in my lap. It finally. We're excited, kicking off Amazon Prime, another kickoff event for another major network. Just another thing on my long list of accolades. And I mean, it's just great, man. Doing what I do. I love boxing. I love the sport. I love the competition. I love the fans. I love the haters. And this is just what boxing's all about, man. Talent versus talent, world-class fighter versus another world-class fighter. Uh, we got a young champion versus a two-time former champion who's now 35 years old. It feels different when you're not the youngest man in the gym. I started when I was 7. It feels different these days, but it feels different in a good way. I have the wisdom, I have the experience. I've been there, done that. And so I got a lot of confidence. We always have, but this is like a fine wine. I'm just aging very well.
Let me ask you, champ, and it's great to talk to you again. Like I told you, our last interview, man, blew up the internet on Fight Hype, 122,000 views. So people love you. You have that it factor in boxing. They don't see you that often. So when you do come out, from a retreat or, spiritual retreat, people love to hear from you. But before we get into your fight, when we spoke, it was right before Spence Crawford, and you broke it down for me, and you gave me the bloop 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 for Crawford and the bloop bloop for Spence, and I can't do it like you did it, but you pretty much called that fight. But was it as easy as you thought it would be for Crawford?
No, I think we all saw what we saw, man, and we didn't see the same champion. Okay. I mean, it is what it is. This happens in sports. I remember a saying that Ben Getty used to tell me, my original trainer, who trained me from the age of 7 to the age of 20 when he passed away. He says, in this game, sometimes fighters get old overnight. And, I'm like 14 years old hearing this. Like, what does coach mean, old overnight? Like, I'm nowhere near old. I'm not going to understand this for who knows how long. And that's the beauty of Ben Getty's wisdom that was on through me. Is there's certain things that he said that I'll never forget. And just like any like father figure or grandfather or mentor or just some wise old man, at the end of the day, they're going to say stuff that you can't comprehend in that moment, but life will teach you. Life will show you. Errol Spence, the undefeated champion, unified champion. There's just a different fighter from before accident, post accident. Then before that contract, he was supposed to sign a contract with me, but he got into another car accident in December. They did their best to they didn't report on it too much, but it was just, we just know it happened. You look it up, you can look up that it happened. It happened, and there's just, something's going on. Now they're talking about maybe another eye issue. He had the eye issue. He couldn't fight Pacquiao, and he was supposed to fight Pacquiao after my defeat to Pacquiao. Pacquiao was the champion. That's how Ugas got a hold of the belt. That's how Spence got a hold of Ugas. I mean, look, Thurman should have beat Pacquiao. Thurman should have been fighting Spence. We should have had two young, undefeated fighters unifying. Then the winner of that should have fought Crawford. And it just would have, that's what this generation was supposed to do. I fell short of my own greatness in my defeat to Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao got to be in position. He was ready to fight Spence. Spence had an injury. Ugas came. Ugas was just a fight style that wasn't good for Pacquiao. He had the height, the reach, the Cuban, poise in the ring, and he came in shape. He came ready. It was a blip bloop moment in boxing where this kid got an opportunity that he wasn't supposed to get. He took full advantage of it. He got the big fight with Errol Spence. Errol did show up. Errol, you know, Errol did look good that night. He did look victorious, but that was a style that suited Errol Spence Jr. Athletic boxers who can punch, who just are different. We're not laying down for nobody. We're gonna make sure that our offense is felt in the ring. And I think the way we hyped that fight up, I think only those who are close to Errol Spence in that camp know the trials and tribulations he was going into that fight, into that part of his life. I did notice some stuff with some of the conferences. I wasn't actually tuning in too much. I did put money on Crawford. I was right. It is what it is. But if I would have paid a little bit more attention to the way Spence was talking pre-fight and different things, maybe I could have picked up on a few more tells that he just didn't have that flame. I noticed it before the fight begun, but not at the pressers because I wasn't paying attention in Vegas. But in the ring walk, before one punch was thrown, the fight was over. Anybody can go back and just watch these two fighters walk into the ring. One looks like they're just walking out into the abyss, and the other one looks like he's about to become the undisputed champion of the world. So when two undefeated champions are about to unify to become the undisputed in Vegas, T-Mobile Arena, all the fight hype, all the energy that was there that night, I was there, front and center. Yeah. I felt it. I was in that atmosphere. It reminded me of me versus Pacquiao. It was one of those type of atmospheres. I mean, I'm talking about Floyd versus Cotto. I mean, it's just one of those atmospheres where the fans, everyone's looking forward to this matchup and everybody wants to see the results. And the way Spence just walked out, I did not see joy. I did not see anticipation. I did not see that he was about to make history in his eyes. I couldn't read anything of that. So before the fight was thrown, I remember his trainer's moving in the ring, touching his toes, doing this warm-up exercises like, coach, punch, coach, come down, So I saw more body language of excitement and anticipation coming off of the trainer than I did the fighter, So that whole scenario is water under the bridge now, and we have to see what's going to manifest with the rematch, no rematch, what Crawford's going to do, and what's going to happen in the welterweight division in general.
Would it be any different, a rematch, Keith?
I mean, not in his current state, I remember Roy Jones Jr. making a statement that he should just take a fight and really get himself back. But look, man, no fighter wants to talk about it. I talk about it because there ain't no shame in my game. I'm different. I'm transparent. I let you guys know how it is. I'm truthful. You can love me or hate me for it. I know a lot of people love my honesty in the sport of boxing. I know a lot of people love my transparency in the sport of boxing. And sure enough, Spence, I don't think anything different would happen, but to my eyes, in his current condition, even on that night, Spence doesn't beat Sean Porter on that night. Spence doesn't beat a whole lot of welterweights in the top rankings on that night. Spence definitely doesn't get past the 5th, 6th round with Keith Thurman on that night. So it is what it is. I was at the LA presser. I already said, I don't know what's going on with his career. It's very easy to talk trash. It's very easy to say he looked scrubbish, he looked like this, he looked like that. It's very easy to kick a man while they're down, right? It's easy to do that. That's not what I'm trying to do here, okay? I'm just being transparent with everyone, expressing my observations in the sport of boxing. And at the end of the day, uh, whatever this man does, if he fights again, if he never fights again, he needs to hold his head up high. He's done a lot of great things in the sport of boxing. He's lived a dream. He's made big fights happen, and he should be proud of himself. He was an Olympian representing America as an amateur, three-time unified champion, lost to one of the greatest fighters of our era, currently now two divisional undisputed champion. I mean, that's what it is. When it's greats versus greats, only somebody can be the greatest. We all there's only a few get to be amongst the greats, but there's that one who in that generation, in that timeline, somebody will say, well, we believe that kid there, that one, that was the greatest. So he might have fallen short of being the greatest, but he has not fallen short of greatness. So best of luck to Spence, whatever he chooses to do in his fight career. And if he's going to be in the ring again, I'll be watching. If he's going to be a spectator, we salute you for all that you've done and all that you brought to the beautiful sport of boxing.
What about one time in the truth? I mean, you talked about the fight that was supposed to happen. Let's say Spence does want to come back. He's talked about wanting to come back, whether it's the rematch with Crawford or not. But you say you beat him in 5 or 6 rounds the way he looked that night. Could we see you two at 154, you think?
Hey, I'm here first, right? Bam. That's what this fight's all about. Not only am I stepping into a new division, it's easy, right? Oh, fight Spence at 154. Oh, fight Crawford at 154. We can always make those fights happen, right? But let's be real. Those are welterweights moving out of their division. Crawford was a 140 pound champion, so he's moving up multiple divisions throughout his career. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would say if I fight Crawford, if I fight Spence, it's a great matchup, but it's not a 154 matchup. So I'm looking forward to fighting Tim Tszyu, a legitimate 154 pounder, assessing my performance against Tim Tszyu after the 30th, depending on the results, seeing where's Keith Thurman at in this division. How well does he get to solidify himself as a true 154 pounder, and how great of a threat? We know how much of a threat I've been in the welterweight division. How much of a threat am I here and now at 154? That's what my up-and-coming fight is all about. From there, any contract that comes my way, we'll look at it. I might be able to jump back down to 147. I don't think I'm not moving up because there's a true weight issue. An opportunity has manifested. It excited me. I think this is a great matchup for the fans, and that's why we're making this fight happen.